Hello and welcome to another online story time. My name's Sarah and I'm a children's librarian with City of Melbourne Libraries. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different story time. We have our own version of a fairy tale, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and we're going to have some pictures up in a window behind me that other children have drawn for you to have a look at while I read you the story. But first of all, let's start with our songs. We normally start with If You're Happy and You Know It. Let's do If You're Happy and You Know It, clap your hands. That's normal. What about If You're Grumpy and You Know It? Can you make a big grumpy face? Stomp your feet. And If You're Feeling Silly and You Know It, wiggle around. Gotta do some wiggling. Ready? All right, let's start with clapping though. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, then you really ought to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're grumpy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're grumpy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're grumpy and you know it, then you really ought to show it. If you're grumpy and you know it, stomp your feet. Stomp, stomp. If you're feeling silly and you know it, wiggle around. Woo! If you're feeling silly and you know it, wiggle around. Blah, 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 blah. If you're feeling silly and you know it, then you really ought to show it. If you're feeling silly and you know it, wiggle around. Blah, 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 blah. All right, that was a bit silly. Let's also do another standing up one. Heads, shoulders, knees and toes. You can't see my knees and toes, but you've got to touch yours, okay? Ready? Heads and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes, knees and toes. Heads and shoulders, knees and toes. We all clap hands together. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose, mouth and nose, mouth and nose. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. We all clap hands together. And of course we always go faster. Got your speedy shoes on? Ready, set, go. Heads and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes, knees and toes. Heads and shoulders, knees and toes. We all clap hands together. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose, mouth and nose, mouth and nose. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. We all clap hands together. Whew. That was very fast. Well done. All right, another favourite I always like to start with. Open, shut them. Can you do nice, big, wide open hands? Open, shut them. Open, shut them. Give a little clap. Open, shut them. Open, shut them. Lay them in your lap. Creep them, creep them, creep them, creep them, right up to your chin. Open wide your little mouth. But do not let them in. Shake them, shake them, shake them, shake them, shake them just like this. Roll them, roll them, roll them, roll them, blow a little kiss. Now, I don't know if we've done it in reverse in online story time. If you haven't done it before, it's a bit of fun. And now that it's nearly the end of the year and you're all such big kids now, some of you are starting school next year, I think you're clever enough to do it. So what you have to do is the opposite of what you're saying. So if normally we say open and we open our hands, what would the opposite be? Shut our hands when we say open. It's a bit tricky. If normally we do a little clap, and when we say little clap, the opposite is going to be a big clap. What about when we blow a little kiss? Maybe not the opposite, but a funny way to end is a raspberry. All right, ready? It's tricky, but I think you can do it. Opposites, remember. Open, shut them. Open, shut them. Give a little clap. Open, shut them. Open, shut them. Lay them in your lap. Creep them, creep them, creep them, creep them right up to your chin. Open my door, oh my, but do your eye. Shake them, shake them, shake them, shake them, shake them just like this. Roll them, roll them, roll them, roll them, blow a little kiss. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? All right, time for our story now. And let me get my special book that has our very own City of Melbourne version of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And here you can see the setting of the book. Do you know what the setting is? It's where the story happens. So where's this book set? Yeah, it's set in the Three Bears cottage. All right, make sure you're comfy, got a cushion or an adult to lean on. Once upon a time in a land far away, there were 3 bears. A mama bear, a papa bear, and a baby bear. Now, these were no ordinary bears. These were fairytale bears. So instead of living in a dark, dark cave or a smelly old bear's den, they lived in a cozy little house in the woods. The 3 bears loved, what did they love for breakfast? Porridge. So every morning, Mama Bear would light the fire under the stove. Papa Bear would put the oats on to cook. And when it was ready, Baby Bear would very carefully dish the porridge out into the breakfast bowls. Then they would all go out for a walk in the woods while it cooled down. You know what happens next? Yeah, along comes Goldilocks. On this particular day, Baby Bear had sprinkled the porridge with cinnamon and brown sugar. And as a matter of fact, Goldilocks loved cinnamon and brown sugar. And as she skipped through the woods, she smelt the porridge. Her nose started to twitch. Can you twitch your nose? Twitch, twitch, twitch. And before she knew what she was doing, she had followed her nose through the open door and into the 3 bears' kitchen. All right, what have the bears got in the kitchen? They've got some chairs for sitting on. How many chairs have they got? 1, 2, 3. Good, the story matches. In the kitchen, the 3 bears had 3 chairs. A great big chair, a middle-sized chair, and a tiny little chair just for Baby Bear. Goldilocks sat down in the great big chair, but it was too hard. Next, she tried the middle-sized chair, but it was too soft. Finally, she tried the littlest chair, and it was just right. But Goldilocks was too heavy for the tiny little chair, and it broke. Oh well, shrugged Goldilocks. I'll just have to eat this delicious porridge standing up. And here we've got our bowls of porridge. What can you tell me about these bowls? They're in order, aren't they? From biggest to smallest. And what colour is the big one? It's red. And do you know what? Goldilocks was a little bit greedy, so she went straight for the big red bowl. But the big bowl of porridge was too hot and she burned her tongue. Ouch! The medium-sized bowl of porridge was too cold. Yuck, said Goldilocks, and she spat it back out. How rude! But the littlest bowl was just right, and she gobbled it all up. After all that skipping through the woods and all of that yummy porridge, Goldilocks was a bit tired, and she decided to head upstairs to the 3 bears' bedroom. She lay down on the great big first bed, but it was too hard. She tried going to sleep in the middle-sized bed, but it was too lumpy. Finally, she climbed into the littlest bed, and it was just right. Goldilocks felt so warm and cozy that she fell fast asleep. Good night, Goldilocks. While Goldilocks was sleeping, the 3 bears came back from their walk in the woods, and they knew immediately that something wasn't quite right in their house. Someone has been sitting in my chair, said Mama Bear. Someone has been sitting in my chair, said the Papa Bear. Someone has been sitting in my chair and they've broken it, cried the Baby Bear. And then they were even more outraged when they saw their porridge bowls. They did love their porridge. Someone has been eating my porridge, said the Mama Bear. Someone has been eating my porridge, said the Papa Bear. Someone has been eating my porridge and they've gobbled it all up, cried the Baby Bear. The 3 bears could hear a loud snoring sound coming from upstairs. So they followed the snores up to their bedroom, and there was Goldilocks still fast asleep. Goldilocks woke up, screamed at the sight of the very grumpy bears, jumped out of bed, ran down the stairs, out the front door, and was never seen by the three bears again. And do you know what the three bears did? They put a lock on their front door, and then they lived there happily ever after. And that's the end of our fairy tale today. I hope you liked that one. I would like to do another story time just like this one, but for Christmas, with a very old story called The Night Before Christmas. You might know it. Sometimes it's even a bit of a poem. And what I would like to do is put your pictures up in the window for that story. So you could draw the reindeer on the roof, or you might draw some stockings hanging in the chimney, or some kids tucked up nice and tight in bed on Christmas Eve. Anything you like from that poem or that story. And if you don't know the story, you can get an adult to search for it online and the words will come up. Or otherwise just draw me a Christmas picture and email it to libraryprograms@melbourne.vic.gov.au. And you can do that by, when you've drawn your picture, get an adult to take a photo, or they can scan it and then they send it to that email. And I'll try and put as many of your pictures into the story time as I can. Hopefully there's lots of them. You can do them in paint, you can do it in Greyland, you can do a collage, anything you like, as long as you have it to that email address by the 6th of December. Because then I'm going to record it, and then in a few weeks after that, or a couple of weeks after that, it'll be up for you to watch. Okay, put that book down. Now let's do a few more bear songs. Or actually, let's do a song with the porridge first. Maybe instead of having cinnamon and sugar, because that was a bit of a treat on a normal day, the bears would put fruit. What fruit shall we put on our porridge? A banana? Yes, bananas are very good. Grab your banana. Have you got your big chopping knife? Careful not to chop off your fingers. Ready? Chop, chop, choppity chop. Chop off the bottom and chop off the top. All of the rest goes in the pot. Chop, chop, choppity chop. All right, what else do you want with banana and the porridge? Strawberries, yum! Or if you don't like strawberries, grab a fruit of your choice. I love strawberries. Okay, got your knife again? Chop, chop, choppity chop. Chop off the bottom and chop off the top. All of the rest go in the pot. Chop, chop, choppity chop. Now we need a spoon. Let's taste our porridge. Get a big spoonful. Don't burn your tongue. Delicious. Okay, let's do another bear song. You might not know this one. It's a memory one. And the three bears are going to go over the mountain to see what they can see. But we need some other fairy tale characters to go over the mountains too. Maybe some other fairy tale animals. What about three little pigs? Yep, good. So first we've got the bears, then the pigs. What other animals do you know from fairy tales? Billy Goat's Gruff, perfect, so the goats can go over the mountain. And what about a character that's not always the nicest of characters in fairy tales? Sometimes they're a bit mean, like to gobble up pigs. The wolf, good, but he's feeling good today. He's trying to be nice. He's not going to eat the other characters. Okay, join in as you catch on. Ready? We're going to go for a bit of a walk. Oh, the bears went over the mountain, the bears went over the mountain, the bears went over the mountain to see what they could see. But all that they could see, was the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that they could see. All right, next we're going to have the pigs, the three little pigs, but they're going to see the bear and the other side of the mountain. All right, ready? You're going to go walking? The pigs went over the mountain, the pigs went over the mountain, the pigs went over the mountain to see what they could see. But all that they could see, was the bears and the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that they could see. Who was next? Goats. All right, ready? Here goes the Billy Goat's Gruff. The goats went over the mountain, the goats went over the mountain, the goats went over the mountain to see what they could see. Had all that they could see, but all that they could see was the pigs, the bears, and the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountains was all that they could see. Last one, and he's got to see all of them. The wolf went over the mountain, the wolf went over the mountain, the wolf went over the mountain to see what he could see. But all that he could see, but all that he could see was, do you remember? The goats, the pigs, the bears, and the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that he could see. Give yourself a clap if you remembered all those characters. Well done. Now, can you growl like a bear? Give me your best growl. All right, you need a growl for this song. This is a hairy bear. It goes like this. I know a hairy bear, a very hairy bear, a very hairy, scary bear. I know a hairy bear, and he can growl like this. Did you do a big growl? Yeah, I bet you did. All right, before we do our goodbye song, I'm just going to remind you, if you want to send a picture for this one of the Christmas story times, email it to libraryprograms@melbourne.vic.gov.au by the 6th of December. And if you're watching this after that cut-off day and you want to send a picture, we'd love to see your pictures anyway. They might not be in the story time, but we always love seeing your artwork. Okay, let's say our goodbye song now. This is the way we say goodbye, say goodbye, say goodbye. This is the way we say goodbye to all our library friends. Goodbye! Look forward to seeing you soon. Now that our libraries are open, maybe you'll come in and borrow some picture books, or maybe you'll just keep watching these from home. Either way, hope you're having fun.